which is fine.
What do you have against AI?
I don't have anything against AI. What I have what I have against is the nonsense that AI is being sold as.
Which is? I will tell you straight up front, other than like fucking around with it on the web browser for like 10 minutes, I don't know anything about it other than middle America is probably going to suffer very, very deeply because of it.
But see, the problem and this is the problem that I have, and this is the problem that I will continue to have. Much like the chaos of data scientists that happened the
All
previous
trouble
5 years,
shall.
there is an imagination among businesses that there is such a thing as a profitability silver bullet,
Oh.
and it's being sold as that. And
I have a
while
new
yes, it
ally in my
will
group,
impact
but my
some
enemies
people's
gain
jobs,
strength as well.
certainly,
Hmm.
and those who can learn how to harness it in a responsible way, um, that is testable and verifiable,
Uh-huh.
um,
I mean, like
there's
data entry
there's
jobs,
value
right?
in it.
Customer service and data entry jobs. Those are all going to
There's no such thing as a data entry job anymore. Like
you can
in
go on Indeed and see data entry jobs all over the place.
well, just because I call them that doesn't mean that's the like. Well, okay, maybe there are. I don't know of anybody who's actually it's their job to type in
I
data
know in banking,
for
at least for
like
now, like back when I was uh, doing temp work
where.
for like I don't know, I'm following you.
Oh, because it's
Back when I
time the
was doing like
RAM.
temp work and stuff like that, the siege outpost.
The abandoned siege camp.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a department called remittance, and remittance is where all the checks came in. So what they would do is they would scan all the checks, and then they would send them out to a bank of computers, right, in four different batches. So me, I would be at a computer and I would just 10 key whatever amounts I saw. So like, and they're all scanned off. So it's like 63, 43. These are all the payments coming in to pay for credit cards,
right,
right?
right,
So then I would get like batch one, and then it would say, okay, now you're on batch four, and then it would match both of my batches together for
right,
accuracy. And then it
right,
would take that and then match it against everybody else for accuracy.
right. Yes.
So those kinds of jobs, you wouldn't need a
Uh,
bank of 50,
that
80,
doesn't.
100 people, you know?
At least in your example, that doesn't happen like that anymore. Anyway. That
How does it
is, they
happen
will
now?
they. So they use the same technology they use for online deposit is what they do.
Sure.
So all of that's just scanned now.
Yeah.
Nobody actually like types in shit. It's just
Yeah.
ran through a gigantic scanner to pick up all the data.
And the scanner's good enough to
And
pick it up without any worries?
absolutely.
Cool. Well, there you go.
I
Good
mean,
job.
at a minimum, so basically, what I would say is at a minimum, that 80 people is down to 10 for QA purposes.
Yeah, I agree.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably what happened.
And that's what's gonna, you
So,
don't think
like,
that's gonna happen with AI?
no,
The
because I
same
think a
thing?
lot of I think a lot of that has already been figured out to minimize it. But
What do you mean by that?
a lot of the jobs that you
See me
described, like
now.
what you just gave an example
They
of,
don't
we already
exist
have
anymore? Yeah,
we have an automation to cut down a lot of that.
sure.
No, what the concern that I have, and this is just because it's my
Need more
field,
time.
is, yes, coding is something that, yes, there is a logic, there is a structure, and if you can read the logic and the structure, you can code.
Uh-huh.
You can put code together to
I'm
execute
so
something,
good, I astound
right?
myself.
But code, just like analytics, is only as good as your creativity.
Okay.
Like, a lot of the shit that you put together is not actually like, A, B, whatever. It's, I have to take sections, like I need to use this type of logic and apply it with this type of logic in order to get this kind of thing to happen, and then I've got to curl it in with this and that.
So why
And
couldn't AI do
so,
that?
No. So it can, and this is where I'm saying that you can, if you use it properly, it can be helpful. Because if I know, like, if like, let's say I learned on SAS, right? So I use SAS and SQL. That's what I know. So
Okay.
if I got put on if I worked for a company that was all Python, which I know some Python, and I can Google a lot, it would be advantageous for me to, like, knowing how to structure my question to get the right code.
Uh-huh.
It would speed up my job.
Sure.
The problem is that what you're gonna get is stupid ass 22-year-olds who don't actually know the back end part as to, like, why the logic needs to be that way,
Uh-huh.
because data's finicky. Like, you have to understand how the data functions, where its flaws are, what it actually means. Like, just because in theory you think that it should be this revenue column or whatever,
Uh-huh.
in reality, at least in all of my experience, there's like 6 different revenues that all mean different things based on who's looking at it and who's storing it and yada yada yada. And if you don't know that kind of stuff and you just walk in and go, tell me how to generate code
My
to
knowledge
do a
increases.
monthly cycle of revenue income or revenue,
Okay,
for
so
12
if you
months.
knew what you were asking for,
Right,
right?
right. If you know what you're asking, it's helpful. That's why I'm not shitting on the whole thing. The
Uh-huh.
problem is it's being sold to the common person
Uh-huh.
that they don't need to know how to ask it. It's just gonna fucking do it for them. And that's when they've already gotten some of these big mistakes, including in Sony,
Where are you?
where I went
Oh, you
to
went and
our
finished the
objective.
quest. Okay.
Yeah, I thought you were right behind me, and then you
No.
did not come through the thing.
Good,
Um,
sorry.
I
no,
bear
so
grave
so it's
news,
already
my
happened with
friend.
Sony
The
where
sliver has revealed
people
Malthael's
who
plan to
don't
me,
understand
and it
that you
is
need to
worse
have
than I could have imagined.
knowledge in order to,
He
like,
means to
leverage it
use the
properly.
Black Soul
Uh-huh.
Stone to
Just walk
capture
in, go,
all
give me code or
demonic
give me
essences,
whatever,
even
and
those
then
that
turn around to their
linger in
bosses and go,
human
this is right.
hearts.
Well,
If
don't
And
you
then
this
their
think that,
stone is
like,
bosses,
altered to
it'll
rip the
become,
demonic
like,
essence out of every
apparent
man,
very
woman, and
quickly that
child
that
on
isn't right and they've
Sanctuary,
cheated?
they will all die.
Like, won't
well,
those
no,
people get
because
weeded
We
out
can
because
still
it's like,
stop him.
this
And we
clearly isn't
begin
working?
by attacking the
no,
fortress.
because you underestimate. So what you underestimate
Malthael is
is, at
fundamental.
least in my experience, the minute that the business owners accept it, because then they can say, oh, I use Chat GP. We are
Uh-huh.
so on cutting edge. We use AI. We generated this with AI, right? So now I'm telling everybody on Wall Street, we're so ahead of everybody else. We're using generative AI to do these products, right?
Okay.
So then we find out that they did it wrong. Well, they're not going to tell everybody they did it wrong and fire them. No. They're going to double down and find out any way to weasel out of uh, responsibility for the mistake, and then
Gather the hooks.
they will probably hide that person at least for a couple of years, because if you fire them and Wall Street gets gets a sniff of it, now you have reputational damage.
Uh-huh.
It's the same reason why people keep paying McKinsey
Destroy those hooks.
and
We
Deloitte
can't move
when
until
they
they're
come up
gone.
with shit that's actually fucking useless. It's because they can say, look, we are. It's because the
We
C-suite
only have
people
one
can go,
strike
hey,
left.
look, we I'm doing everything humanly possible. I threw money at it. We hired a humongous consultant who, by the way, has absolutely no expertise in our particular
The
way of doing
gates have been
business.
destroyed.
But because we can say we hired them, and because they came up with fancy quote unquote models, which, by the way, I have reviewed McKinsey models, and at least the ones I've reviewed were fucking rudimentary and done by like a first year
Pandemonium
graduate.
Fortress.
But they sell those things and they go, see, we're amazing, da 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 da. And I
When I fought
literally watched my
Malthael, my
bank pay
sword
$5 million
passed through him
to
like
use a
air.
model once
He
and
is
then
in a
shelved it
state of
because
death
we knew
and
it was
blood,
shit
impervious
when
to
we bought
physical
it.
harm.
But we can't
Your
not use
magic
it because
is
you paid
not
$5 million
enough.
for it.
To
Right.
defeat him, you
And that happens
must
all the
channel the
time.
power of death.
So
as he does.
it's not as clear cut as if somebody does a shitty job, they get fired and we don't repeat it.
All right,
If
well,
it
let's
gets
look at,
high
like,
enough up
Become one
and
with
it
Like,
becomes
alright,
visible,
be
it's a
that
problem.
seems to be like, okay, you need some sort of critical thinking skills, but
But you must
for
find
a lot
way
of
quickly.
the middle management kind of stuff, it's not. It's just checking boxes and making sure that things are getting processed in the proper procedure.
Yes, yes. If it's a repeatable task,
Like
if it's
mortgage.
an easily repeatable
Like
task,
that whole mortgage thing of where you collect all
Sure.
the documents and stuff like that, and
Absolutely.
like those jobs
yeah,
are gone.
follow-up emails, things like that,
Yep.
you could code that. Yes, something that's easily repeatable and doesn't require
Like-
a knowledge base,
Um,
you can leverage it for.
Like a lot
Like,
of
like a
law work, I'll tell you that much. A lot of law
See, but
work. Maybe not
but-
like courtroom stuff, but like a lot of the paperwork. You wouldn't need
Sure,
very
paperwork,
many
absolutely.
like, what do you need me for if an AI can draft a will to your specifications? You
But,
know?
but see, that's the problem. That's
Using
where
North Carolina law, which is static for the most part.
yes, but that's where I would say is the danger, because you assume in this case.
I'm not assuming.
That-
But go ahead.
No. But the assumption, the underlying assumption of the statement you made
Okay.
is this: the person who is asking to get the will made from the AI has any fucking clue how an a will should operate, right? There's the level of expertise to understand. You know, if you're poor and you don't have any money, a will is pretty simple, right? But if you have like estates and
Estate,
account and all that kind of shit,
Yeah.
an AI is not going to guide you to make sure the right types of shit are in there, right? They're just going to say, okay, what do you want me to put in here, and they'll do it.
Yeah.
So in that case, again, that's where somebody can really get burned, because if they
Yeah, but
are
not
under
everybody
that
has an
impression-
estate, right? The vast majority
no,
of
no,
people,
no.
hold on.
Right,
The
no,
vast
no, no.
majority of people
You're
don't
right.
have much, so it's just
Right.
your mom passing on to you. So if an
Right,
AI could be like, give me your bank account, give me all of your investment information,
absolutely.
what
that's
do you need me
that
for?
repeatable. That's that repeatable process.
Yeah. And there's
You're
a lot of that.
Sure.
Because
Absolutely.
I'll tell you one career path that does not reinvent the wheel at all is law.
Well, no,
There is
because-
a website that has the document you need
Are
somewhere
you
out
are
there.
you coming across?
I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just talking.
There was literally a.
All right, well, I'm going
gate
now.
right there. I need you to come across. No, I'm not saying it's not valuable. What I am
So
saying
what
is that
you're
it's
talking
being
about, though,
oversold.
Seems to be like, there's executive decision making roles, sure, but the guys under you,
Sure.
no, they're not safe.
Oh no, the guys under me would still be safe.
All
It's
right,
the
maybe
people
not you
who-
specifically. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Like
no,
middle
you're not
managers.
necessarily wrong. You're not, and I'm not arguing that it's not.
what do we
gonna
do?
Have an impact. Well, in theory,
I think
would
it's
happen-
ironic. This is the irony of you, of you, Jake. It's just like literally the other day, you were like, "Here's the worst case scenario," and that's what I'm sticking with. And now it's like, "Well, here's a bad case scenario." You're like, "Nah, it'll never happen." I have no idea what
I'm
you're going to say
I'm
about
not
any
saying
subject.
I'm not saying anything's never going to happen. What are you talking about?
I'm just
I'm
saying,
completely agreeing with every
No,
I'm
you are,
pointing out-
you are. But like, you're. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like you're pessimistic about AI. It's like you're
No.
just not. You don't think it's as good as everybody's saying it.
It's not.
And
That's
I agree with
absolutely
that.
The case.
And I do agree with that. But like
And
in the very short term future, it's gonna get to a place where it is.
It can, yes, it can have an impact. The
Like, more than
pessimism
an
that you're
impact.
picking up.
Like
Yeah, well,
Like,
I
we're
always
gonna be
say an
bored,
impact.
like maybe
I mean,
not my
there's levels.
generation, not yours, but like
I,
Aaron's.
I think
definitely.
that's a bit. I think
Aaron
that's
is
a bit
going to
far,
live with
but-
AI.
Sure, to some degree, absolutely.
Sure.
I
in a
agree
way
with
that we didn't.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, my
So,
sister-in-law lived with the internet in a way that we didn't.
Oh yeah,
Like,
seriously.
let's be honest. But that's not my point. My point is that the reason why you hear me say it's not the all seeing, all doing that everybody sells it to be is because I understand what happens when you try to use something that you don't understand and what kind of consequences there are to it. And there's a lot of now, granted, I unfortunately am getting far enough in my career that by the time they fuck this up bad enough, it won't matter because I won't be working anyway,
Sure.
or I won't be working in this kind of a field. My ass will be working at some sleepy tea shop in like Leicester or some shit,
Sure.
where it doesn't matter. But the point is, like, right now for my personal career issues, like it's these people. Fortunately, I don't work for the bank anymore, but like if I was at the bank, they would immediately, I've been hearing about AI and models and how we use fuck, why can't I think of the term right now? We're doing AI and shit, fuck, it's supervised and unsupervised. Fuck, what is that term I'm trying to use? Anyway, it's like the dumber version of AI. Anyway, the point being, we've like at the bank, that's all we heard about. And like when we did it, the reality was, number one, 90% of the time when you hear somebody say we used a model, it's bullshit. It's not an actual model. It's some sort of business rule calculation bullshit. It's not actually based on math. It's not actually being delivered by what is actually considered a model by math,
Okay.
by mathematicians. It's somebody put some shit together and then called it a model.
Sure.
So but the whole sell to my boss is every time we use this kind of shit, that's all he'd tout. And I'm like, but that's not really what's happening. And that's the problem. They were overselling the reality of what was being delivered, and everybody was buying it. But if you were there and you figure out how it worked, it wasn't nearly as complex and couldn't do nearly as much as I was being sold.
Sure.
And that's going to be something similar to the AI. It will do things and it will improve things and it will make certain tasks unnecessary, and that will happen. But
I mean, just making research easier is going to change everything.
well, but again, those are the things that concern me, because provided that the researchers actually double check it and make sure that whatever's being done is
No, I'm just talking about
appropriate,
straight
then that's
Google.
fine.
Like the way Google is going to just be able to understand, not understand, that's not the term.
No, but
I don't know-
you,
I don't know
you
what the
bring
word
up a
is.
perfect point though, because
But
that
being
statement
able
is what people think.
like not understand, but like understand how fucking like specific I need to be to search the thing that I'm looking for. Like it'll be able to sell me things way more effectively than they currently do. Right?
Only if they have access to the right data. Yes.
And they do.
Well, I think they won't though. That's the thing.
You don't think Amazon
That-
like Amazon's AI, whatever it is, isn't going to be like
No,
know everything about me?
Internal AI will be able to do that.
Sure.
Chat GPT itself, no, because there's no way in fuck that any company
There's
that's got
only a
that
matter
kind
of time, right? In my belief, where they introduce that into the Google proper. So you're Googling is the AI, right?
Yes, they're internal AI, but you're never gonna like. You may see Chat GPT in the short term while they're trying to cover it, but Microsoft's not gonna buy Chat GPT. Microsoft's
No.
gonna.
I'm
make
talking about
ChatGPT.
actual the search engine Google,
Right. No. I'm
not
agreeing with you. What I'm
internally to
saying is-
Google. I'm like they're good. The Google's AI knows everything.
No.
about it.
What I mean is Google is gonna develop their own AI,
Well, everybody's gonna have their
and
own
that
AI,
is gonna
right?
right. That
Ford
right,
is going
and
to have
that's
their
what I'm
own
getting
AI. Like Tesla's definitely going to have their own AI. Everybody's going to have
Oh
their
my
own
God.
AI, right? And their AIs are all going to do different things. I'm telling you, it's Blade
They're
Runner,
gonna tell
man.
you that.
But it's all the same base AI.
I was gonna say they're gonna tell you.
They're
that
all
bullshit.
licensed from the same shit. Yeah.
Let me just tell you how this was the funniest fucking thing, and I was absolutely right about this. So, Amazon Web Service was like a humongous thing that everybody was supposed to understand in my career path. Like, right? Everybody's like, oh my god, Amazon Web Services. We all have hard dicks because they do amazing analytics, and oh my god, we should all do Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
And then right before I left, we actually got Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
And they basically created reports that a fucking sophomore in college could make. Like, it was the most awful, most rigid, like for a business owner who wants to say that they're numbers based, that you can get like some basic reports that'll work and they do look pretty. But if you actually want to understand what the fuck is going on,
Yeah.
no way. It's not. It's shit. It's absolute total garbage. And I sat in on those meetings, and we grilled the fuck out of the developers, and we grilled the fuck out of their capabilities. And we the people we are, even though we had a much shittier like audio to translation system. So like what we were doing our work on was text, but it was call center information, and the it's a lot easier to deal with that if you can do NLP and kind of search through the transcripts instead of actually trying to use
What's NLP?
the actual voice. And the transcripts were
What's
shit.
NLP?
Oh, natural language processing. So it's the smaller version of what ChatGPT is.
Okay.
Because that's a large language processor, is what that is.
Okay.
So anyway, the point was that even with the shitty transcripts that we had, because we had data science people who were capable, we were able to produce complex like analysis to help drive business improvements, right? We'd be able to identify areas of call-ins where we were getting problems, and we were able to flag some early issues that needed to be investigated by the business units and stuff like that, because we had the knowledge base to do that. The problem with Amazon Web Services is they cut you off from the raw data. So you not only got their shitty reports, you only had their shitty reports. And so they actually took us backwards in our capability because they cut off your access to the data to be able to do your own analysis. And that's and Google does similar shit as well. Like those helpy helperton type things are good for product owners, like business unit owners, basically MBAs who don't know how to do complicated analysis. They're useful for those people. But like if you want a root cause analysis as to what the fuck is actually happening in your business, and if you want to track down like actual impact and certain types of trends, if you want to do some modeling, all that shit, it can't do any of that. It can't do any of that. It's not made to do that. It's not capable of doing that. You still need people like me and my coworkers to be able to do that kind of shit. And so it's a similar thing, but what'll happen is you go into a meeting and these fucking business owners will roll in and be like, well, AWS said X, Y, and Z, and we spent half the meeting shitting all over the output that they got and explaining to them why it's wrong and the data's used wrong and their insights are stupid. And that's why you pay us the big bucks. And I literally spent lots of meetings doing that, where they came up with a number and we just shredded how they got there. And ChatGPT has that same capability where people who know how to leverage it to its strengths will make great benefits to it. People who have repeatable jobs that need consistency will benefit from it. But you will get people who jump on the bandwagon too fast, who don't actually know how it operates, and that is where you'll have your errors. That's where it will be leveraged incorrectly. And since again, the reason why I'm so quote unquote pessimistic is because that last scenario impacts me in my career, because I have to deal with those people who do that and don't listen to the warning, and then I got to fight for hours and hours and explain to them why they're wrong, which is a giant pain in my ass.
Do they not
Does that
want
make
to
sense?
hear you because yes, all of that made a lot of sense. Do they not want to hear you because they paid so much money for it and they just don't want to believe that the thing they paid
no,
so
because
much money for it isn't
so
what they think it
you
is?
got to remember part of it is a clown show. right? So I am business owner X, right? And when I say business owner, I mean I'm the person who makes the decisions about the specific product, and I get analysis from people around me to help make those decisions. That's what I'm doing, right?
Okay.
So I have to play. I usually am talking to C-suite and just below, right? Because I'm actually impacting the business. I'm generating money on a scale that's impactful, and so I have to explain, all this shit.
Sure.
So if I come in a room and I use ChatGPT and I said that we're going to generate $10 million off this deal. Oh, you got fucked up already? God damn. All right.
I wasn't ready for that one.
No, clearly. I'm actually taking a hit. That's weird. Oh yeah, those are bad. Let's not get hit by that shit. Ow. All right. Anyway, so if you're in that meeting and you say those words,
Uh-huh.
and then I come in and go, in actuality, based on our using of your data and our understanding of your business, your impact is not actually going to be whatever you said it was. It's actually going to be this instead. Now your bragging has turned into defense. You're in front of people who honestly, your ability to go up the ladder is partially due to office politics and not looking stupid.
Uh-huh.
And so your motivation now is to save face, not listen. Right?
Sure.
Or you've already sold the higher ups this before you ever talked to us to get a validation number. And now whatever number you came up with, true or false, doesn't fucking matter. That's what you got to deliver on. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the situation that happens. That's the scenario that I've seen happen enough times, which is why I always urge caution with how you leverage a technology like this. That's all. Because I mean, it's not a new concept. We heard growing up, and I'm sure those even older than us heard the same thing. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
So it can do some things that it says it can do. I'm not arguing that fact. I'm not arguing the fact that there's not some benefit to it. But there's also a lot of risk and a lot of opportunity for unnecessary exposure for your company on different levels.
Until they have finished
And then,
their
of
work.
course, the unfortunate thing also is, like, fucking kids aren't going to have to learn.
I can't
Like,
join
not
up
to
with
say
the
that I
others until
remember
they have
dates
finished
and
their
shit from
work.
history and stuff like that, but the concept of homework, when the way I viewed homework when we were kids, even through college, was it's to practice, right, what you're learning.
Right.
Right? And if you understand it, and I believed in this personally, if you understood it, then you don't need to do as much homework. If you don't understand it, then you need to do more homework, right?
Makes sense to me.
Right. Well, currently,
Where is the
at least
Black
my
Soul
understanding, homework is just a
Malthael destroyed
grade.
it, and
So
used
the
the
grade
power
in and of itself is why you're
Then
doing the homework.
Malthael's death
So it's
will
not
have
about learning.
released
So if you
Diablo.
take away the purpose
He
of
is
learning
free.
as the function of homework, then what are people going to do? They're just going to execute the intention of the homework that they think it is. Yeah, the game's over, which is to finish the homework. And so what are they going to do? They're never going to learn because they're going to go to this thing that can give them the answer. That gets them the grade that they want in order to do whatever
The Nephilim
afterwards.
have done the impossible.
And that's where you're going to get in a danger, where
By
you're going to get a
conquering
generation
death,
that, if
he
you
had
over
redeemed
leverage
the
the AI,
angels
are actually not going to know how to do
saved
anything
all mankind
on their own. Like, they won't, like, on a whole. Obviously, individuals will be
in
different,
that
but
moment. With victory
in a
at
whole,
hand,
people will
I
not
saw
functionally
the
know how to
Nephilim
operate
in a new light.
once they get out of school.
He is a hero who can defeat the champions of
Now, hopefully
heaven
that's not
and hell.
Aaron. Hopefully that's like
And a
several
wizard
generations after your
who
kids. But
protects
it
the
is a
innocent.
potential outcome.
But within him
I think it's going to
beats
turn into the
a
thing
mortal
that
heart
everything eventually
that will
turns
one
into
day
when we have
be
these kinds of
tempted
concerns.
to corruption.
A tool that we use. They said the same thing
Which
about
is good.
radio, the
Day.
TV, you
Will
know,
he have the
computers, cell
strength
phones.
to
They've
resist?
said it over and over again about every
Or
technology
will
that's
he
advancing.
be our doom?
Not us. It actually restricts us. All of these things restricts us as a species because it's made us more insular in the fact that like you stay solo,
Yay. We did it.
but you have
No,
a wide variety of opinions on a lot of stuff, and people are vocal about it on social media in a way I used to think they wouldn't do in real life, but
Yeah,
now
and
I'm
now-
not so sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hope you're right. I hope that at
I hope
some
so
point,
too, because if it goes
I hope
if
that
it goes a
people-
dark way, man, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, no, I hope people do. I hope it becomes a controlled tool that is used properly and has guide rails around it for proper use, and I think that that would be very beneficial.
Sure.
But you know, the problem is again the joke in the Verizon's commercial. Oh yeah, we need a new network that works faster so I can get AI to do my homework faster. That's a little jab, it's a little joke, but the reality is somebody thought about that already, which
Yeah.
means somebody's probably already doing it.
I mean, how hard
You
is
know what I
it
mean?
to do that and say, "Hey Alexa, what's the square root of 5 or 6?" You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
it's already there.
No, absolutely. All right, yay, Diablo's dead. Woo!
All right, what are we doing now? That's real.
You want to do Forest? I'm only halfway done with Halo.
Here's the thing about the forest. I think you played the shit out of the forest.
I played. I
Shit
played.
out of the forest.
So
So
the
you
answer
know all
is
the
yes
like little
and no.
trickies and the deaky
So no, I
and
don't.
nothing's ever the
That's the
surprise.
thing. That's the funny thing. I know
And for
a
me,
small portion of the forest.
uh-huh.
I know a small section of the map of the forest, and that's it. So like caves, I genuinely don't know what caves go to where I need to go. I
Uh-huh.
don't know what's in the caves. All I do know is that the caves do link, and that you want to track them so that you make sure that if you've gone all the way through, because there's only like